Hey, what's up guys, Kalltoraks here and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title of today's video, it's going to be very different. I want to bring you guys my in-game analysis after 5,000 hours of PoE 2. Some of you may be wondering, well, how or why do you have that many hours in this game? Honestly, I really enjoy this game a lot. Despite what everybody might say about it, despite how many bads might be within the game, I actually really enjoyed this game over PoE 1. It's just a breath of fresh air for me in terms of just build crafting. I've put in extensive amounts of grind time within this game since 0.1 to now to get to the point where I am today. I didn't really play Phoenicia or Secrets of the Atlas because they really didn't interest me too much, and I wanted to put a lot more focus into my content and growing my channel more, and it actually paid out a lot. I was able to push out a lot of videos in 0.2.1, and that really helped my channel a lot and put us on the map, so that was great. I did spend unhealthy amounts of time on this game. I'm talking staying up till 2 a.m, waking up at 6 a.m, sometimes 5 a.m to try to get these build videos out, but that's what it takes. That is the grind, and I'm enjoying myself nonetheless. Being a content creator is not easy, but I do get the most enjoyment out of knowing that I brought you guys a pretty good build that you can enjoy and get through the game with. I first want to give a shout out to Jungroan. He honestly taught me everything there is to know about Path of Exile in general. When I was playing PoE 1, I watched all his build videos. I learned everything I could when I was playing that game. Even though people would call it bait builds on Jung and I didn't really even know what that term meant, I just followed the build and I learned about the mechanics of how these things worked, and I wanted to do my own thing. Eventually PoE 2 was announced. I actually had not planned to do content on Path of Exile ever. I was going to go back to D4, but PoE 2 was announced and that was perfect for me. That was my chance to finally do something myself, make my own builds, and bring this to a community, and that's what we did. I also want to give a shout out to Kalltoraks. He has been helping me by showcasing a few of my builds. He's a great builder himself, and I 100% agreed on his tourist take that he made a few weeks back, so definitely check out both him and Jungroan. I'll leave a link to their channels down in the description below. I also want to talk about the latest Keeper the Flame reveal. I really did enjoy that stream. GGG just really knows how to cook up a season, and honestly it got me even more excited for the next season of PoE 2. With the amount of customization that was shown in the Keeper of the Flame reveal, I really hope you guys cook for season 4 of PoE 2 because I know you guys can do it. I literally know you guys can do it. I don't know why you're holding back. Just give it to us, give us everything. But anyways, let's get into what this video is actually about. My 5,000 hour analysis of Path of Exile 2. I have played just about every skill in the game except for minions and a few of the mace skills, and I've tried to push these skills to the absolute limit. I feel like I have accumulated a very good amount of data on the skills portion. I am not a huge crafter or map blaster. I do set up all my maps to juice these builds up and push them to that limit to test them out to see if they are worth even having in the end game. So I do have that. I try to make sure every build is tested for pinnacle bossing, pinnacle content, so the player can enjoy themselves to the fullest amount. I will be separating this video into 4 parts: player, passive tree, uniques, and mapping. Some of these topics will be longer than others, so grab a snack, grab a drink, and enjoy the discussion. Alright, for the player, I first want to start off by saying that they did really good on the crafting this season. Even I have opted to self-craft a lot of my items over just buying them outright on the trade board. Crafting has been super good this league. Thank you for adding this mechanic, even though it's just Unveil mods and you guys gave it a little twist. Really useful. Even SSF is in a good spot on just making your own items, so thank you GGG for that. Character power. A lot of builds, a lot of ascendancies still lack enough character power to compete with one another, on who is either going to be able to compete this pinnacle of content, and I think this needs to be changed down the line. GGG has this idea of every ascendancy having its own identity and nature, but when you nerf this character's identity, you completely take from what they're supposed to be and their ability to scale even higher to their actual potential, highest potential for that matter. For example, mana stacking. Stormweaver just got a very nice buff at putting it back on the map with the elemental fusions, but mana stacking is still not in a good enough position for you to be able to compete with a blood mage at all. There are many reasons as to why a player is not able to scale a skill to its highest potential, either it being the skill just not being good itself, or just not having the right tools to scale that skill to the highest potential. There are way too many sacrifices needed to make a lot of builds work on the high end, and that needs to also be changed. Now say I wanted to use the new Kalltoraks staff, his Foul Emergence, which has a 15-second cooldown at maximum level. I am putting way too much investment in scaling that cooldown to get it to a good enough level for me to even barely spam the skill on a character that isn't a Chronomancer, and even then, if I were to play it on a Chronomancer, I still would not be able to reach any good amount of damage potential because the staff itself doesn't really have good modifiers enough to scale the skill to a higher potential. Just about every skill in this game relies heavily on plus levels, and these staffs do not come with that, so you are sacrificing a big chunk of damage plus a bunch of other modifiers on top of that. Most classes won't be able to make use of these staffs. We do have the His Scattering Calamity Titan build that just got shown, which is really only going to be able to be used on the Titan because of the machine gun factor you get because of the enormous amounts of reduced skill effect duration. My question to you, GGG, would be, do you want OP builds to be in the game? If so, why can't you just make everything good? Keep the OP skills where they are, and just make all the skills that aren't used so much, and you know what they are, compete with the skills that are doing so good in the game right now. Let everyone play around with these good skills in a sandbox, and then we can start nerfing everything that is too OP after these things are in play. I will give you some examples. You have a whole list of basic attack spells in the game. The one that actually took off this league was the new one that was introduced to the game, the Reap basic attack spell, but you have a bunch of other ones like I tried to do Freezing Shards in 0.1. It is the only spell in the game, skill in the game, that shoots multiple projectiles and all projectiles count as hitting an enemy. That alone is good on paper. The skill itself just does not have enough power. The season you decide to buff all spells, you then nerf the skill, and no one was already playing it. Please GGG, what are you doing? There's another basic attack spell called Enervating Nova, which does a significant amount of damage to enemies within a certain distance. But GGG, I really just want to know, why? Why give this skill such an interesting catch? I would genuinely like to know why they did such a thing. And then you have skills like Explosive Arrow and Rain of Arrow, which literally get zero usage. I think these skills need to be reworked. Please GGG. As a non-minion player, I absolutely just completely stay away from minion skills. I've heard minions are in a better spot this season. I've seen a lot of minion build videos and they seem to be really good, but one thing I do notice is that they are all using just about the same generic specters or minions, and I honestly would say if you make all the specters good, if you make the minions good, I would play minions in this game. I do like some of the Spectre designs, and I'm pretty sure in more acts there will be even more cooler Spectre designs. So if you just make these Spectres like good in some way, shape, or form, I would love to play minions in the game. Another huge issue is Energy Shield is still too OP. Everybody's heard about this, we've all talked about this, everybody already knows this. We need more life scaling options on the tree. I really love what you did with the Blood Mage after doing the Adonia's Ego build last season and running Veil of the Night, life stacking, and using Arctic Armor. I did notice that We just needed more defensive options for the Blood Mage and Life, and you gave it to us. Tech Rods is so amazing, it's so useful. The Arcane Surge to multiplicative life regen nodes on the tree, super huge. But then I just put on Zealot Soul, scale my energy shield, and now energy shield begins to be OP once again. Characters that just want to stack life cannot do that. Evasion characters cannot get access to good amounts of life to just be a flat out evasion or armor evasion. I really want to know what you guys plan to do, GGG, about life scaling in this game, because I personally don't really want to build energy shield every season for my characters. If you just give us some life options, that would be pretty great. You gave us the stun threshold to life on the ranger side of the tree, which is pretty good, but you still didn't give us more life scaling options. I say you let us just try a season where we can actually fully scale into life on multiple different characters, and then we can start nerfing things down, saying things are too overtuned, overscaled, yada yada. A couple of good things that I will mention is, one, the build variety has been very good this season. I've done a lot of builds, I've seen a lot of builds that have just been very successful in getting the job done, getting all the content done to certain degrees. It's definitely been in the good spot, and I honestly just think GGG needs to work on a lot of the lesser used skills, and it will just continue to get better, add more skills to the game, and things will continue to get better, and we'll be looking pretty good in the next 2 seasons probably. One thing that I will also comment on is getting Blaster very faster. GGG has done a very good job on getting the character online pretty fast, with not much investment for certain builds. You still do need a good amount of investment for a lot of skills in the game, but for a vast majority, you actually don't need that much. Another big topic that is talked about within the community is character speed, which I honestly think is in a very good position and doesn't really need to be changed anymore going forward. GGG introduced some new abyssal jewels, socket runes that can go in your boots that basically give you movement speed that can let you compete with a Tailwind Deadeye, for instance. Everybody getting 100% increased socket effect boots on the end game, and I think on the high end, movement speed is pretty good and a pretty good spot for just about every other ascendancy. And from what I've seen, a lot of mace skills have also taken off in the more speed clearing factor, so that's always good to see. The last thing I want to talk about in relation to character power is the bloodletting support that is being used on just about every life scaling build in the game right now. GGG, I don't think you really tested this at all, but this, and I think everyone can agree, this support needs to be nerfed. There should 100% be a cap on the amount of damage that can be gained from this support, and I don't know if you plan to do more things like this in the future, but if you do, I guess you would leave this alone. But if not, definitely please nerf this support, because there's no reason for this to be this powerful. It just about makes any skill you put it on really OP. It is a deepest tower in a support form with no caveat at all. Alright, moving on to the passive tree. So, I really think you guys did an amazing job on this new passive tree changes this season, allowing for so much more variety, allowing me to reach so many more damage points with less investment. I thank you for that, but we're still not done. There's still a lot more that can be done to the passive tree to make it better, to give the character more character power with less investment. I think you guys need to go back to the tree again, and you should change some nodes that we aren't really using at all and just make them better. Like, there's so many nodes on the tree that have zero use that could just be good. So please, can you guys just take a look, try to change some of the zero use nodes. I don't know if you have plans for them in the future, but just as of right now, these nodes have zero use to the player. Sometimes they'll come in handy here and there, but there's just so many caveats to them, or so many conditionals to them that the player really wouldn't need within the build, that everybody just uses the same generic nodes even still. So please, GGG, take a look at them and we can work from there. As for the ascendancies, I enjoyed some of the ascendancy changes this season. They were still fine. Huntress, Amazon took a nerf to the crit accuracy node, but it still came out pretty good in the end. Deadeye's changes are obviously still very good, but in my opinion, ascendancies like Chayula Monk and Smithakatava really do need to be looked at. Chayula, I league started Chayula this season as a caster. I was really hyped for the changes, and honestly, it is very lackluster. You have way too many conditionals compared to other ascendancies that just have static damage effects, and you're doing all of these hoops and hurdles just to get some damage. I really think you guys need to go back, re-look at Chayula, and just make a complete overhaul of everything on it. Not everything, but definitely just need to do some more remodeling on that. Seeing the PoE 1 Keepers of the Flame, the graphs, I'm just saying GGG, an idea. Put the graphs on Chayula Monk. You want characters to have an identity, there you go. Graphs could be pretty interesting. Change them up to make them PoE 2-ified, however you want it. Chayula definitely needs some looking at. As for the Smithakatava, my literal main issue, and I would love to play this class, but fire spell on melee hit should not be how it is. There's no way something like Mjolnir exists, giving you literally more damage and just more everything off of nothing, and fire spell on melee hit doesn't have the same thing. So please, buff fire spell on melee hit, GGG. Other than that, the only other ascendancy I can see being looked at in terms of power is probably the Blood Mage, but I think the Blood Mage is the best ascendancy right now, just because of everything that is given to it. And Bloodletting, we have to have that nerfed to then make another analysis on the level of Blood Mage. It's still probably going to be really good. It just offers so much just for life stacking, Calm's Heart gameplay, but we'll have to see in the future. Lastly, I would like to talk about the jewel sockets in the tree. Some would probably disagree, but I personally believe that we should have more jewel sockets. I don't know if it would be the same as before, but I do think we need access to more jewel sockets because they offered more character power, which I do believe we do need on the highest end of gameplay in the game right now, which most players don't really access. I purchased an Adorn this season, tried to test it out, but just with the amount of jewel sockets offered to the player, you would be sacrificing way too much, stretching all the way out, picking up all the jewel sockets, depending on the build of course, but I just do think we need more jewel sockets back on the tree, just to see how things will play out. Moving on to the uniques, there are a few things to talk about here. There need to be better uniques with much less caveats. We have too many uniques in the game that literally put a dent in a character's build just to get some damage going. Yes, it is a good amount of damage, but the amount of dents you put in your build just don't really make any sense on the highest of ends of gameplay. Calm's Heart giving you no spirit, Veil of the Night giving you no res, Ming's Heart giving you less gullible defense and less maximum life. These things are all dents to the player. Yes, they are supposed to add a problem to the build that you would then solve, and they can be used, but we don't need more uniques like this going down the line, and I think you should nerf some of these caveats as well. A lot of the uniques in the game currently need a buff, still they lack power and just aren't usable to just run in a build, or some just take way too much over investing to even make the build run. There's also still a large variety of PoE 1 uniques that haven't been transferred over that would just allow for tons more build variety and options and utility, so hopefully GGG gets on that as well. Lastly, uniques like Deepest Tower and Constricting Command. Are we going to keep doing items like this from here on, GGG? Is there going to be a new helmet every season that's more OP than the other? or less, or however? If so, just keep making them. Don't nerf anything, add more items like this to the game. Give us more chase items at this level that aren't just a helmet, of course, and make it to where you wouldn't maybe be able to run an item like Deepest Tower and a glove on the same level of Deepest Tower together due to a specific caveat, if you were to do such a thing. Now we move over to our final topic, mapping. The Atlas has gone through a very large amount of changes to this point, and it's in a very good spot, but it's still not in the best position. I personally still think we need more juicing options to choose from. There needs to be more customization on the Atlas in comparison to PoE 1. While it may not need to be the same or as big as the PoE 1 Atlas, I would love to customize my mechanic farming methods just a little more. I don't think I am the biggest fan of the current map prepping rotation. I think once they add the Desecrate NPC, or if they do, hopefully they do, to our hideout, it would be a lot better. But as of right now, even myself, and I have also had many people tell me that it's just honestly outright better to just buy maps off of someone else than just going through the map prepping of it. I have a friend who I like to play with named Demigod. He runs what I would consider to be the pinnacle of mapping in this game. He likes to play the meta Deadeye build or any meta build that's out. He likes to buy these tablets that have +2 additional random map modifiers, and he uses 3 of them with quantity, and he has a 600 plus rarity bot, and I've mapped with them. I test every build that I put out in his maps to make sure that these builds can run very juiced content. Most players do not run the types of maps he is running. He loves PoE 1 juiced out, destroy my build types of maps, and in this game he has done so in that fashion, especially with the new changes to the Atlas and the overrun abysses and the increased difficulty. It gets very hectic. When I say that there are a lot of builds in this game that are not ready for this type of farming, especially when it comes to adding rarity in your build, you are not there yet, we are not there yet, and I don't know what you plan to do, GGD. This is why I say we just need more character power overall, because most players won't really think to reach this point, but if they do, and they are trying to play on a non-meta build like Blood Mage or Deadeye, you literally can only play these 2 characters to do this content in the game with 14 modifier maps, and this is where you are getting the best amount of loot. And then group mapping comes into play, where you need more character power to then do more damage within a group. So what are we gonna do here, GGG? I don't know, especially next season where we're getting more in-game content to add on with this new juicing that you added, which is great, but we do need more character power going forward. My buddy also brought up this small little quote: in a gold mine you make shovels, you give the shovels to the miners. Everybody has a job to do in this game, even more in PoE 1 because there are so many mechanics. Obviously we don't have a lot of mechanics in the game in PoE 2, but as we get more, we will be able to pass out more shovels to everyone, and there will be more things to make money off of in the future. One example I would like to bring up is I was trying to get irradiated tablets with these 2 random additional map modifiers, which I heard were taken out of the game, honestly, and you can't roll them anymore. But even then, just farming irradiated tablets, I was not able to get any. I have not been able to get just about a lot of them. I get some, but just not a lot. Now, I personally think that tablets should be farmable and targetable so that people can sell them and we can have a very good fleshed out market for them. And that goes for a lot more other things in the future. But if you ask me, in relation to the pinnacle of mapping It is comparable to the T17 problem in PoE 1, where not every build will be able to do these maps. So, what will you do, GGG? Going forward, this will be the end of my analysis. I enjoyed this game a lot, and I honestly just want to see it thrive and succeed in the future. It's actually been one of the best games that I played to date for a beta, and I would like to thank GGG for that. One thing that 100% does need to be worked on in the future of this game is the optimization. I'm sure you've seen in the gameplay, but this is how console is, and it's honestly even worse past this any higher when it comes to juicing my maps. So it's better than last season, 100%. Like, mapping like this would have had my screen turning black. So I'm sure GGG is actually putting a lot into the optimization, or at least trying to. But going forward, I would love to see some actual optimization changes. I don't know, maybe able to turn off the delirium fog or something, but definitely something needs to happen. So here's hoping that the right person sees this video and certain things can be changed down the line in the future from what everyone is complaining about, of course. That being said, that will be the end of this video. If you guys enjoy the content, please leave a like and subscribe. It really shows that you guys enjoy it. You guys really been blowing up my last few videos, and I thank you for that. There will be more to come in the future. I will be checking out the new Path of Exile 1 season, so we'll see what happens from there. But I will see you guys in the next one.